Hi friends, welcome back. I hope you're all doing super well. I am so excited today. We're going to celebrate Summerween, which is one of my favorite holidays. It's the blending of summer and Halloween into its own awesome holiday. So we're going to make some really tasty snacks and some crafts and just have a really fun, ghoulishly good time together. So if you want to hang out and see how I do everything, then please stay tuned. But first, I think it's time for a costume change. Okay, now that we're all Summerweened out and I'm all spired out, it's time to start our very first recipe, which is going to be black squid ink ice cream. It sounds perhaps a little precarious, but I'm hoping if I add some chocolate and some caramel, the squid ink saltiness will balance out, and fingers crossed it'll be super delicious. So that is our very first recipe, and we're going to start that right now.
And then go ahead and add 2 cups of heavy whipping cream to a bowl. And then I'm going to use my little one-legged mixer to mix everything up. I realized I needed some more room to add all the other ingredients, so I transferred to a larger bowl, then whipped everything up until it was nice and firm. And then I added a tablespoon of vanilla and a whole can of condensed sweet milk, which gives it that perfect ice cream texture without having to use the ice cream mixer, which is great and magical. And then I added a tablespoon of cocoa powder, and then I ended up adding about 3 tablespoons of the squid ink powder, but I went kind of slow to make sure I didn't get too salty. Then I mixed everything as best I could, and it actually tasted pretty good. And it wasn't too salty, just had a nice chocolate flavor. And then I went ahead and added it to my dish so I could just pop it in the freezer. I ended up freezing it for about 5 hours, but you could go longer and it'd be just fine.
Our surprisingly tasty squid ink ice cream is getting all chilled out in the freezer, and while it firms up and gets that right ice cream texture, I thought we'd start on the next project, which is going to be a wreath. But before we begin, I think it's time for another costume change, because I can't pick just one. Okay, I'm back and ready to start crafting. So I have this wreath here. So I got it on sale at Michael's, and I think it was around $10 because they have the summer sale going on right now, which is amazing because normally it is $60, believe it or not, for this guy. So I got this on sale, and then I got this awesome garland. So I'm thinking I might take some pieces off and glue it on, and then wrap others around, just make it a bit cooler. Then we're going to add these guys. So I got a bunch of succulents on sale, which I think are really cool. And then the final thing we're going to do is sculpt some man-eating plants out of these. So they are styrofoam balls, which not ideal, but they're going to work for the purposes of today. So I'm going to cut kind of like a mouth in there, and then put some aluminum foil and some Sculpey, and then we're going to try to use a hair dryer to kind of bake it, because Sculpey needs to be put in the oven or heat activated in some way to harden. But since this is styrofoam, I don't really want to put it in the oven, so I'm thinking if I use a blow dryer, that should hopefully work, and then we'll have some awesome man-eating guys to add to our wreath. I was thinking it'd be fun to have something that was a fall-summer transition, because I love decorating for Halloween, but if I go all out Halloween too soon with my pumpkins and everything, it kind of loses some of the magic to me. I mean, I love Halloween. I have, like this banner is up all year round, so is my bat, but some other things I think are just more special if they're only around that time of year. That's just me. You can do whatever you want to do, but I was thinking it'd be kind of nice to have something I could use every year that's a Halloween transition. So, the wreath. We're going to get started right now, and hopefully this turns out.
To start the wreath, I'm going to go ahead and detach some of the ferns from their larger piece. That way I can just glue them on and make my original wreath a bit fuller and have some different colors in it. So I'm just going to hot glue everything onto the bark of the wreath so that kind of woody stick base that everything is wrapped around, like so. And then I'm going to add my succulents. It does have a wire attached, which I don't want because it's not quite long enough to wrap around, and it was just sort of getting in the way. So I took it off and then just used some hot glue on the little nub there. And then I glued that to the wreath bark, making sure it's secure. And then I went ahead and did the same thing with all the other succulents, except for this red one there. The wire didn't actually detach, so for that guy I did just bend it and kind of wrap it around and just glued it on.
The wreath is halfway done. I got all of my cool succulents on here. So now we're going to make our man-eating plants. So I have my styrofoam ball, gonna cut it, wrap it in aluminum foil and clay, paint it, should be good.
For my man-eating plant here, I did cut out a little place for its mouth, and then I went ahead and filled that with foil to kind of smooth it out and give me some more base and a good foundation to add the clay to. Also a lot easier to make a lip or just add in some bulk where you need it. So I'm going to go ahead and use my clay. This is just a super soft Sculpey, and I smoothed it out as best I could, and then applied it to the mouth, trying to make the lips and also keep some of the snarl that I originally carved into the styrofoam ball. Then once it's all smoothed out, I added more clay to the rest of it. And then I decided I should make some fangs. So I went ahead and sectioned out my Sculpey and then made it into 4 little balls, 2 larger and 2 smaller. So I have some, upper and lower fangs. Just make them nice and pointy. Ta-da! And then I did go ahead and blow dry my Sculpey. It took about 20 minutes, but it actually worked. So I have some green and blues, red, white paint. I'm going to go ahead and start applying that paint all over. I was blending the green towards the back to give it some depth and keeping the blue in the front. I did mix them a little bit, so I didn't want it to be too blue, but I did want it to be kind of cartoony. So I worked pretty fast and messy as always. And then I added in red just from the tube to the outer lips. And then to make some depth in the center and inner part of the mouth, I added some green to that red and just mixed everything together and filled it in. That way it's still cartoony, but it has some, dimension to the mouth. And the fangs are pretty easy to add in, just like that. Or you can glue them, either way works, if you don't have magic on hand. And that's how it turns out, so I do love it. And I went ahead and added in some wire. This way I could wrap it around the wreath and make it more secure, since the Sculpey did make it a bit heavier than anything else we added. And I secured it with some hot glue and then just wrapped it around. And this is how it turned out.
The wreath is done! I wanted to add another one of these guys, but I underestimated how much clay I had and I ran out. So hopefully I'll add more to it later. I might even do some every year, so add another creature somewhere around here once a year, so I get my creature wreath really full and spooky. But now that this is done, we have one thing left to do, and we're going to make some tasty dinner. Surprise! I had to do one final costume change, and it's for the last thing we're going to make, which are these savory filled puff pastries. So I'm going to use some chicken and avocado and salsa and make something really easy and hopefully delicious. But the best part is you get to use this tin. So it has all of these tombstones on it with spiderwebs or spiders and bats and skulls, and they're going to turn out really cute and spooky, hopefully. We also get to go try our ice cream officially. It's done freezing and it looks so good. It's almost pitch black and I'm hoping it's really tasty. So we're gonna go do that make these, and then we're ready to party.
I love my Instapot so much. It seems a really cute little sound whenever I open the lid or close the lid, and it just works really well. So I'm using 3 pieces of chicken, some salt, some pepper, some cumin, some cayenne. I'm just kind of adding everything to taste, and then 1 cup of water. And then I let it cook for about 8 minutes. Then had it vent for another 12. And that made it the perfect pull apart chicken. Then I set my oven to 400 degrees. And then while everything was venting, I went ahead and started cutting up the vegetables. So I'm using 1 avocado, and I'm cutting it into bite-sized pieces. You can do smaller or larger. And then I'm going to put everything in a little bowl and then mix it with the onion and some salt and pepper. So just dice the onion up. And I put everything in a bowl for later. And then I did go ahead and shred my chicken off camera. I meant to film it, but I was too excited and too hungry and I forgot. But next I'm taking my dough. This is a pre-made dough. You can get any type of puff pastry is perfect. This was just the brand they had on hand, and it turned out really well. So I wanted to roll it out, make it a little thinner, and then I just placed it on top of my tin here. I realized I probably need some more dough, so I ended up using about 1.5 sheets of dough. And after I cut it into smaller sections, I did want to roll it out a little bit more. And then I just stuffed it in and filled it with some chicken. And then my avocado and onion mixture. And I topped it with some salsa. You could also add cheese or leave out the chicken and add, a vegan cheese instead. Or fill it with something completely different. So many options with these. I did add an egg wash to the bottoms, so I lifted each one up and added the egg. Then I baked them for about 15 minutes or until golden brown. And then once they were cooled, I put them on a plate and they were ready to eat.
I just poked the ice cream and it seems like it's firm enough and ready to test. It looks blacker than it did when we put it in, so I am very excited. And I think it's time to dig in.
Look at that color! I probably could have mixed it a little bit better, so lesson learned for next time. But it scoops like a dream. Oh, I'm so excited. Yum, 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 yum.
This is the moment of truth. Let's try some. Okay, it's actually really good. A tiny bit salty, but the sweetness and the chocolatiness of it actually balance out the salt, so it just tastes like a lightly salted chocolate ice cream. Oh my gosh. And I think I'm done. And my tongue on my teeth back. Yep. I would highly recommend this actually. And it got darker when we froze it, so it looks really dramatic and it's actually tasty. So you can serve this to any of your guests and hopefully they like it, but I think they will.
I have my jack-o'-melon here. Gonna get it all ready for the final festivities. These are actually really fun to carve, and you can just eat the watermelon right after, so it's perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and add my candle. And here we go! We have black ice cream. We have our maneating wreath. And we have our dinner puff pockets.
Alright, we have all of our food and crafting done, and it's time to celebrate. So me, my jack-o'-melon here, want to wish you a very hauntingly good Summerween. And until next time, bye-bye!